Hey, world, nation. My name's Ryan Lambert. We're doing a podcast. We're going to start one. This is it. This is the first time we're coming out. We're coming out of the box. What do we know? What do we do? What do we know? What are we doing? We're going to figure this out as we go along. The first thing I'm going to tell you is we're named this thing Squadcast. I'm going to tell you why we named it Squadcast. Because there's this film from the 80s. It's called The Monster Squad. And I was in this motherfucker with my co-host. And we'll call him Andre Gower. You want to say hi for a second?
Hi.
Okay, there he is. So I played Sean Crenshaw in this film.
Didn't.
Oh, wait. Was that you? So
yes,
he played Sean Crenshaw. He was the leader of the squad. I played a sort of piece of shit loner.
No, you played the cool kid.
Okay, whatever.
You played the cool kid.
All right, let's just call it
what it is.
A cool piece of shit loner. This movie was huge. I mean, it was you wouldn't believe it. I mean, you already know about it. It was, bigger than Jesus. And made millions of dollars, and there were dolls and bed sheets and comic books and what am I talking about? This movie tanked.
Which movie are you referring to?
I don't know.
Well, now to be fair, there's probably 2 or 3 different reasons why the result is different than it should have been at the time.
Sure.
We can get into that later.
Well, let's just start it off now because that's what we're
okay.
That we want to establish why we're here. So why are we doing this? We want to know what we're doing. So this is for initially for the fans of this film that we made a million years ago, but mostly kind of Andre and I just want to talk about shit,
basically.
But let's get this going like for a minute. What happened with this production that we made when we were little tykes?
Well, I think there's 2 things that were the main driving force or non-driving force of why it didn't do well box office wise. Which
initially didn't do well.
Yeah, but box office wise is what anybody cares about, is what it does in the box office, especially back in the day. Today's a little bit different, and that's actually another conversation. But in 1987, when this movie came out, there was, I think, 2 main issues. The first one was there was this, I don't want to say experimental, but a couple different thought processes of, one, how to market this movie and who to market this movie to. Now, interestingly enough, I think this movie was marketed interestingly, but poorly for the time, because if you remember, like, their marketing campaign, they took, like, mugshots of the monsters.
Yes.
So there's a front and a profile.
There were posters all over town.
I mean,
town that we live in.
And even in magazine ads and newspaper stuff, movie houses, it was a mugshot, front and profile of the Mummy and Dracula, so forth, with no other information on there. And it just said wanted and the Monster Squad. Now, what's interesting, in 1987, you don't know where to go to find that information. You have to wait for something else to come by. Today, that would have been an interesting campaign, because you'd have had, a website on there, or a code, or some sort of something to scan, or to something to tease to, so you go online and figure out what it is. You would have been able
to.
It was a call to action or an engagement.
Something, and
right.
and it would have gone to something else.
A QR code,
and then you would have
something.
been able to fight the monsters yourself or something.
Right.
And
so I think that was
stake the guy, and
I think it was a mishit on marketing on that aspect from that first point. The second point is, if you watch this movie and who it's geared towards, it was, and we've said this numerous times in appearances and stuff, but it was too kid-oriented for the 14, 15, 16-year-old cool kids that don't want to see a kid movie. On the flip side of that, it was too dark, scary, and dangerous for 10 and 11-year-olds. So if you watch that trailer of the Monster Squad, like if you go and watch the original theatrical trailer, parents that see that trailer are like, I'm not taking my kid to see this movie.
But that would not have that's not something that would have happened now. Like
No,
now,
it's
if you
we gotta
saw
go
that
back then.
trailer,
Kids would have the 10-year-olds would have ran to it.
yeah, and parents would have been throwing money at them to leave them alone
To get out of their room
Yeah,
and get
away from me and go see
off
the
the
Monster
computer
Squad.
and go see a movie.
But back then, you're saying that you think that parents might have been like, "Ooh, I don't want them to see that because they're gonna have nightmares and crawl in bed."
Yeah, it
with
was
me.
too dark. I mean,
But
the
it
trailer
wasn't
was
too
actually
dark.
the trailer was actually pretty dark if you watch it.
But do you think it was
now,
too dark for now?
No, I don't think it's too
Okay.
dark for now. So, with that said, if it's too young for the 10 and 11-year-olds and too kid-like for the 14, 15, 16, we made the first tween movie.
Okay.
And before there was a tween thing, had they known that, they could have either maybe marketed that or invented that. And by now we could have made Monster Squad 11 Breaking Dawn. We would have had sequel after sequel.
I'm glad we didn't. But do you think that?
Are
like,
you?
I feel like I'm interviewing.
Are
you.
you?
Do you feel like? I mean, like I saw Jaws when I was a little kid. It scared me, but I had fun. I knew it was funny, or in a weird, like, sort of roundabout way. Lost Boys came out at the same time as our film, and people loved that, and kids went to see that as well.
Well, I think Lost Boys...
But even Ghostbusters kind of was a little scary at some points, still funny.
Ghostbusters is campy as it gets.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
come on,
Monster Squad is a little
realistically.
campy if you think about it, and it didn't, it wasn't, like, terrifying, but there were parts of Ghostbusters that were scary. Jaws was terrifying. Star Wars was terrifying. When I first saw Star Wars, the cantina scene scared the crap out of me. So I mean, great scene. Obviously, it's a great scene. It's amazing. Like all the Mos Eisley stuff is great. But like when I saw the
like you. I don't like you either.
I didn't like any of it. Hammerhead scared the crap out of me. Yet I had a doll.
Love Hammerhead. I had a Hammerhead action figure.
I had all the cantina thing. But
Jealous.
what I'm saying is like when I saw the preview of Star Wars and they showed that scene, I was like, I'm not seeing that.
Well,
I was terrified to see
you
that.
were also...
I actually got forced into seeing Star Wars. No pun intended. But hello.
Well played,
hey!
sir.
So
Well played.
So we could go talk about the new Rogue One trailer, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, that's not.
But let's go back to our time, 70s, 80s, and maybe early 90s of film. Do you think that like what we love about film now, being our age, do we always compare things to what we loved nostalgic wise, in our time, and do kids that are our age that you know what I'm saying, that were our age then now love the type of films that we loved then? Does that make any sense? Did that make any sense?
I think I zoned out there for a second while trying to figure out your question.
So what I'm saying is there's films now. So like let's say something like Suicide Squad or Batman vs. Superman or any of the Avengers.
Do kids
stuff.
today
kids today watch those films and think of them as a part of their time? And maybe in 10 years from now, 20 years from now, they're like, do you remember Suicide Squad, man? Do you remember Batman versus Superman?
I got what you're saying.
I feel like when we were kids, there were these things that happened in our time. Whether it's Monster Squad, which we were in, by the way. Did we mention that?
I think you mentioned that.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
We got that.
I got it.
What I'm saying is, like, okay, so when we watched E.T., when we watched Superman 1 and 2, when we watched E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark, like, those movies were so iconic. Do kids these days have... Because I'm too old to think that movies now will ever be iconic. So I go see Suicide Squad in the theaters, and I'm like, great, now I have to take a pee and go eat a taco.
Right. I think there's a couple ways to look at the answer for that, and I think my first reaction would be no, for a couple of reasons. One is I don't think teenagers of this generation, like of today in 2016, I don't think there's, and I may be a little more doomsday with this, but I don't think things...
Superman reference.
I don't think things mean as much to... I don't think individual things mean as much to kids as things meant to us. Well, it's just a generational thing because there's so much stuff out there, and they jump to the next thing.
But we're talking about films in general, like
I get it.
films
I don't,
specifically.
And you're talking
I'm
about
sorry.
you're talking about icons or iconic
Kids
films.
might think of things.
I think everything's a rehash anyway. There's very few so original new things, and I just re-answered my answer for you because the only thing that I can think of that is, I don't know if seminal's the word, but iconic in your words. That affected people in the world is Harry Potter.
Okay, that makes sense.
Lord of the Rings, maybe, but I think Harry Potter
No.
created a world. It created.
There's no Lord of the
created
Rings
such a
land
fan-
at a theme park.
That's a good point, and there wouldn't be unless people really,
And
really
Harry
gave a
Potter continues to move on into other realms. Like, eventually, Eddie Redmayne is going to be incorporated into the theme parks. Whoever's playing those parts in the new Broadway productions are going to be incorporated into that world. And that world's going to move on, like Star Wars is going to move on. Like now we have
Look, there's a Star
Rogue
Wars
One.
world now.
Yeah, well, there will be, and obviously you're going to see Darth Vader and all the original characters in that world. But are you going to see the Rogue One characters in the world? Like, will you see like the move on the side? They're calling this this is a Star Wars story,
I saw that.
which I love. I love that they're doing that.
I kind of dig.
So are you going to move? Is what's his name from E to Mama Tommy N going to be a doll that you can buy at Disneyland? Like, that's incredible.
I'm sure he will be.
Which is,
this is Disney now.
This is insane. I love that, and I love that you brought up Harry Potter because
I think that's the only
it is
iconic
like
thing.
that.
I could be
It's something
wrong.
that
Can you think
moves
of
on.
anything that's iconic from the last? And look, Harry Potter came out a long time ago. Even the first movie, not the books, they were even further. But the movies, I think now if you go back to the things, because you named some pretty iconic stuff, Jaws, E.T. Not everything Spielberg. Spielberg.
But I have to because that's my world.
I mean, two of my favorite movies are Jaws and Close Encounters. I think Close Encounters was iconic.
You can't claim Close Encounters. That's mine.
We can share. We can both love the. I think there's a lot of Squad fans out there that go, "You can't pick that," but they'll share.
Sure.
They love that. I think the other reason it's not just a generational thing is I think movies now there's less original stuff that can come out.
Well, like, why is that? Because, like, in the 80s...
There's only so many stories. I mean, what's the thing? There's only 7 plot lines in existence.
Okay, so in the 70s,
literature.
we had, like, this, like, surge of, like, amazing original content that was kind of gritty, like Scorsese, Mean Streets. We had Taxi Driver. We had Taking the Pelham 1, 2, 3. We had, I could go on and on and on with the 70s. Like
Grease.
Well...
Went from Mean Streets to
collar moving over. You know what I mean? Like this incredible surge of gritty filmmaking.
I think filmmaking's a reflection
5 Easy
of the time.
Pieces. So like then the 80s like was kind of like a boom of comedy. Like so we had Ghostbusters, we had Beverly Hills Cop, we had Three Amigos, we had Fletch, we had. You know what I mean? Like things that I love. The vacation stuff. We had all the National Lampoon stuff. Like I love that stuff. We had and we had the Goonies and we had Monster Squad and we had things like that. Like what is going on
in Mr. Mom?
Oh, whoa. We had what is happening now? Even in the 90s, we didn't. I can't think of like what was the monster boom in the 90s. And I'm talking about right now. Like what is the golden age of film now? Is it I think it's television.
I think it is. I think television is the new golden age.
And I know
of
a lot
film.
of people talk about this. Like, everyone talks about how, like, Breaking Bad and Sopranos and, like, blah, blah, like, changed television and, like,
Well, I
American
think it
Horror
did,
Story changed the miniseries format. And I love that. I mean, I watch more television now than I have ever watched any films in the past. Like, I have lists of television shows.
You do. You consume a lot of television.
I do.
I'm impressed by how much television shows that you consume, because you're also a voracious reader.
Yeah.
And I fancy myself as a pretty good reader, but I like when you and I get together and talk about books and reading, because you read different stuff than I read, but we both read. And reading, that's another different thing, because I think a lot of people still read, but not like they used to. But I think it's kind of coming back a little bit.
I do think that there is a new. I think Kindle sort of brought that back.
Yeah, I think technology helped the ease of it.
I don't read on Kindle. I did for a minute.
I avoided it for so long.
Then my iPad got stolen, so I went back to physical books.
Well, I like feeling the book in my hand and flipping the page.
Yeah,
I
mean,
that.
there's an analog version. Yeah, there's that, but and I love that too. And there is something to be said for that. But I mean, I've read books since I was a little kid, and Stephen King got me into that. And let's do a little comparison from 80s to now as far as like nostalgia goes, because I really have always wanted to talk about this Stranger Things phenomenon with you, which we haven't really gotten into.
Right. Very timely.
Because it's actually something that is close to our heart, because they did kind of pay homage for at least a few scenes to something that you and I were involved in.
Would have to. I mean, we don't have confirmation from the horse's mouth, so to speak. But
well, I watched the show and I was like, "Hey, that's
to me.
Is that supposed to be me?"
Yeah, there's some pretty close, really good things in there.
I mean, even if they weren't, they saw what we did. I mean,
right.
we are here to toot our own horn. I mean that.
So what's the? Why do you think? I mean, I'm sure a million people have talked about this as well, but Stranger Things, if it's going back to maybe Stranger Things is the new iconic thing that people are going to remember.
This is exactly what I wanted to talk about.
The people that are really kind of reveling in Stranger Things are kids from our generation and a little bit younger.
Are they? This is what I'm asking.
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know.
So, this is a phenomenon. We can't
think
deny
that's the perfect
this.
word
We
for
can't
it.
deny this.
Yes.
Like, everyone is watching this. They're binging this program. So, who's watching this? Like, is it people that understand where it came from, or are the people that are watching it from the era that it came from? I know it's both, but where do we draw the line? Like, who am I mad at? Like, do I hate you for not you per se, but like, do I hate this person for being like, oh, you just like it because like you think you know what happened when I was a kid, or do I hate you because when you were a kid, I was a kid, and you think you like it, but you don't understand, man. I was there, and I watched E.T. in the theater 3 times, and like, that's why I'm an actor. So fuck you, man.
So are you saying it's like actual kids from the 80s, whether they were cool or not, that are the ones that love this Stranger Things now? Or is it just a bunch of hipster douches that are jumping on and going, oh, that was rad?
Yes. And also,
I think it's
fuck you.
I think it's
because
both.
that thing is mine, and you can't have it. And I think that's what a lot of people think.
I think there's two audiences. I think there's there's a hipster audience that really digs it, and I think that hipster audience is a little too young to actually get almost everything in there, like the super real feels. Like I watched that, you get some you get the real feels. Of course, you get the homages and the music to Carpenter. I mean, it was great. It was just a tongue bath to all of that cool shit. And I don't think I think they
The
were
next
doing
season is actually called Tongue Bath.
and they're unapologetic about it. You know, being the Duffer Brothers. I think
That's my favorite. I've said that. I mean, that's my favorite word for
they're
the show.
unapologetic. They're like, this is what we enjoyed. We want to make something like that. We're not trying to go and because I read
that. They want to make.
I read
that.
a thing where they said it's like we didn't write this and go and we're going to copy Stand By Me in this scene or Goonies in this scene or Monster Squad in this scene or E.T. It's like those are the things we liked, and we're just putting it in this because we loved that shit. And I think that's why it worked because it was genuine.
I like that. They made their own thing, but they created it in a universe within things that you're going to recognize
and feel. And that's what it was. Is that everybody started to, go berserk. Posting and saying, "Oh my God, Stranger Things." Trending now. I love this. This is awesome.
But how amazing was that?
But that was great because the first thing I ever saw posted on one of my feeds about Stranger Things was I can't remember who it was, but it was like, "Oh my God, just watch Stranger Things. It was great. It made me want to go get on my BMX bike again."
Yes.
And I was like, "Okay, this is interesting. What is this thing?" Because I had heard about it, but I hadn't watched it. We watched it in one day, of course. We binged all episodes.
I got to tell
evening.
you, just so I can get this on record, I had a stupid job to do that day. I knew that it was coming on. I've been reading about it for months, and I took that day off. I woke up in the morning, put it on, and did not stop watching it until it was over. So I watched it in one day. I'm claiming that. I rule. I'm just going to say that. I just want that on record so that I can tell everyone that I kick ass. And I watched it because it was the most spoken to me show that I have ever watched in the last maybe 10 years. I loved the Breaking Bad. I loved Sopranos. I loved all these amazing shows that I watch. I think they're amazing and being.
But you like Stranger Things better?
I watch Stranger Things as me as a young actor
because it struck a chord with you. It made a
struck
connection
a chord
that you
to
had a
me
connection
because
with.
I realized that maybe when I was a little kid, I was in this, and I was.
Well, I think it's unique because if you're in something that that we may or may not have referenced in it, that's even a different kind of smaller percentage of getting those feels, getting the feels. I think it's even just a generational thing, and everybody kept. I didn't watch it until it had been out a week.
Lame.
I watched it in a week, but we watched it all in one night, so it was great.
Who's we?
That would be me and my wife, Michelle. But we got all those feels, and she actually had a great take on it after. That was a little around the corner from the first things that I liked about it, and she really liked the fact that because if you look at, there's a lot of characters in it.
There's a lot of stories.
There's a lot of stories going on. There's a lot of storylines, a lot of characters. And if you would let someone just whittle this down as a network executive or somebody or producer, be like, hey, there's way too many people in this. We got too many stories going on. Let's cut it down to just the 4 kids, the sheriff. The mom will be an ancillary kind of featured character because she's wacko, and we'll just write her off. We don't need the scene with the teenagers and the older daughter. We don't need that relationship. Whatever. It's all lame. Everybody has a voice, and everybody has a voice, and there's great storylines that all kind of. They don't really converge, but they weave in and out of each other and cross, but then the whole thing converges itself. And everybody had a reason to be there. And I was carrying on.
Well, it would be stupid if they didn't do that.
Yeah, but that happens a lot. Like you watch movies today, and you have
it's not a movie.
No, I know. You watch something, film or television or story today, and you have 4 main characters, 2 couples or whatever. Then you have these friends and side characters. And there's characters that they're honestly completely useless. And they don't do anything. There's no tie-in. There's no finish with them. Everything in there has a purpose, including the douchey friends of the boyfriend.
Agreed.
That ends up like that. Everybody was like, well, what are they for? And and I was figuring this out because what's interesting is the Stranger Things thing is, like you said, a phenomenon. And I was just doing an interview with LA Weekly the other day that will be out. He's writing a pretty good piece about it, Jared Cowan at LA Weekly, so it should be pretty bitchin'. About, it was basically writing for kids in different, basically 80s movies, and today why it's so different, why you can't write that way.
So you basically did this podcast
inspired
in written form.
Say what?
Basically
kind
did this.
of. But I mean, he's going back. I mean, he's going in depth just on a singular topic of writing for kids. So it was very interesting, and we kind of touched on the same thing. And there's a lot of topics and things that hit on that. Look, they kind of, rehash the bully scene and you pulling up. I mean, there's.
I got a lot of.
So did I. I mean, everybody said it.
Yeah.
But, so there's some bullying, which is
But I'm
interesting.
not the bully. I was so mad. I was like, I'm not the kid. I'm the guy that was saving him from the
But
cliff.
even the friends
Not me,
of the
I'm not the
boyfriend, they're bullies too, but they're older. But then we see a little character arc with the boyfriend. This theme. It was great. And I was reading a thing where they wrote. He was supposed to stay kind of a dick through the whole thing, and then just be done in like 3 or 4 episodes and out.
Then they
but they
redeemed
really
him
liked
at the end.
They really liked him and said, we're going to keep
As an
writing
actor
him.
or as a character?
No, as him, as the actor, and said, we're going to keep writing him in there. So that's a very interesting thing that you don't get in films. You don't get in most episodic television or series.
Yeah,
you can only get in something that you're writing while you're fucking making it.
So
because they were writing episodes while they're shooting.
So you think he's going to be a new hero in season 2?
I have no idea. I mean, look, I don't know what they're going to do with season 2. Are they going to do American Horror Story and go completely different characters?
Nope.
Everybody was saying that.
I will tell you this right now. I know this for a fact.
You know this. Oh.
They're not doing that. It's a continuation.
Which is even better because I think that's smart.
They're going to continue the story.
Yeah.
So Stranger Things. You heard it here. 4th. I am the guy that told you about that. Let's move on a little bit to what we love about fan loyalty, because I'm interested in the fact that these people, including myself, that love nostalgia of the films that something like Stranger Things is paying homage to, which is E.T., which is John Carpenter, which is The Thing, which is Alien, which is Monster Squad. Little plug. What do we as how do we and you and how do we experience fan loyalty, you and I, when we go to these conventions, which we're about to go to, a big one in Chicago, and we'll be broadcasting from there as well, so you'll probably hear another episode from there, and hopefully we'll get some good guests. How do you feel when we go and we meet these people in person?
I think it was very interesting in the first year or so when it happened to realize, it took me a little bit to understand the dynamic of what was actually there with specifically with Monster Squad fans. And I mean, we've talked about this at length, and we've mentioned it at places and appearances and such, but for some reason, and I started asking this question to fans and people that we've met, and some are now friends, of why you would get inundated with stories and reasons why this movie means so much to them. And it's not just hey, this was a genre movie and I'm a genre film fan, so therefore I like this movie. We noticed very early on that there's something different about a true Monster Squad fan, and why this movie, apart from others, and the other movies probably hit the tones there too with these people, but it made they connected with it some way, so that creates that loyalty.
By the way, this is called Squadcast, so that's why we're talking about it now. So get used to this, because every once in a while we're going to throw in our own egotistical bullshit. And go on, Andre.
And with these fans that I honestly think are, as loyal as anything could be, really. It's really kind of interesting. It's awesome and it's amazing. It's bitchin' that they really hold on to something, with that much, love. Really, is what it is. And I started asking that question: why? Why does this movie mean so much to you? Did you identify with one or more characters? Was it the nostalgic time in your life that it hit at a certain time? I've had those stories as well when I ask people. This was that summer of my life. I was 13 years old. I found it. I saw it on HBO and recorded it, and I watched it every day an entire summer because that was the summer that something happened in my life, or I wanted something to happen in my life.
Why do you think that happened?
I don't know. I think it was a right time, and I think the fact that it didn't do well in the box office, like we were talking about before, and they had to find it on their own, that they held on to it.
But how did they find it on their own? Do we know this answer? Do we need to go find this answer?
I do know that answer, because it was, when it started running on HBO, is when a lot of people found it. And then a lot of movie, early seedling movie nerds, adolescent nerds, that wanted to see as many movies as they could, found it at the local video store. And they would rent it. And then they would rent it again. And then they would just keep the VHS and get the letter from Rocket Video saying you owe $42.50 because you kept this title. And they did do that. I mean, you and I have signed a ton of old VHX stuff with a sticker or an address from some video store.
Run down, like the edges.
The edges are all worn out and everything. And we've signed, blank black Max L video cassettes with a piece of masking tape on it that says Monster Squad. We've signed that. Yeah. Because they kept it and they're like, I'm never getting rid of this. And I think
even if it's broke, even if the tape is broken, it's the case.
And they've seen that, and I think that created that connection with them for some reason. But those answers are those individual people's answers. I can guesstimate just off of what I've asked. I've had the stories.
That word.
Guesstimate?
More than any.
Hypothesize?
That is my most hated word.
Then we'll strike that from the record.
Ever.
Okay. Then it's off. It's off the Squadcast.
I love you to death.
Never use that word again. I can only,
I'll stake you.
That would hurt. We know you got to kill more monsters. And you're.
You want to? You want to go off topic?
No, because we know you'll win. I'm not that. No, I'm not going off topic.
Hey man, it was in the script. What am I supposed to do? They just.
I know you're just an actor.
This is the thing. Okay. Well, you know what?
No, not off topic.
Let's talk about this for a second.
We can table that.
I like this. I like this topic.
I bet you do.
It's not about Monster Squad.
Okay.
In general.
Okay.
It's about being an actor and being a sort of a just being told what to do. So
you're hired for a job. It's you're supposed to stand somewhere that someone says.
So what is your stance on how do you where do you come from a part? You read the screenplay, you're like, I'm going to do it this way, and then you get hired, and then you get on the set, and the director goes, great, do it this way, and then you're like, wait, that's not how I wanted to do it. Like, where do you go from there? Like, as a person or as an actor, like, do you just obey the rules of the director, or you tell them to go fuck themselves and go, this is the way I think it should be? And like, because
I think that happens a lot.
Let me just go really quick on my when people tell me about like, oh, you're so fucking cool as Rudy. Oh my god, I'm like, you know what? I put on the goddamn jacket. The director put a cigarette in my mouth. I was 14 years old, and all of a sudden people think I'm James Dean. It's like, you know what? James Dean is known for a character that he did in Rebel Without a Cause, or East of Eden, or Giant. 3 movies he made. And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. And all 3 characters are cool, like, quote unquote. Most being Rebel Without a Cause. You put the red jacket on him, he was mad at people, and people thought he was cool. But really, he was just kind of a misunderstood human being. So, like, that's kind of how I thought Rudy was. Like, you put the jacket on him, you put the glasses on, you put the cigarette in his mouth, and he looks cool to the world, but in his mind, he was a sort of misunderstood teenager that was scared of the world and joined
The sensitive
little
hero?
quad.
Going to be the sensitive hero? Or is that's not
That's cool too.
Isn't? Oh,
sensitive hero.
That's so feely.
No,
that's so feely.
right.
It's a touchy feeling.
Like, I mean, the hero of the story is Crenshaw. You know what I mean? Like,
well, truth be told, the hero of our story is a 5-year-old girl.
I like that too. I love
so
that
we were
too.
way ahead of the game.
So, like,
that.
she understood. I heard he killed his dad. Like,
yeah, she has the best lines
right.
in the movie.
Right.
She has the best reactions as an actor. But she also is, we. How progressive was our movie in 1987? Our hero was a 5-year-old girl. And I've always seen it was big.
What was I originally talking about? Trying to get.
You were talking about doing an actor if you show up on set and you get changed because as an actor you're reading a part. You show up and you're like, I have this.
You
I have
do
this in my
what
mind.
they tell you to do.
That's your job. You're supposed to.
You're a goddamn puppet.
Well, I think you're supposed to be. I don't.
Which is a great.
There's two ways to look at that too. Is I think whatever part if you're fortunate enough, actors out there that may be listening to this, if you're fortunate enough to get cast in any type of role, one, you should be able to please be professional when you're doing anything. But two, when you're on and you're showing up,
we're gonna have
that'll be a whole
another podcast that you and I are gonna talk about telling new actors.
That's on the list.
We're going to train you to do auditions.
Listen,
Trust me.
And almost what not to do on set or how to do things on set.
Anyway, go.
Now, I think what's interesting, you show up because you're like, oh, I'm gonna nail it like this. Like you said, we all do that. We're like, we're gonna get it. This is how I see the scene. I'm gonna show up tomorrow. I'm gonna do it. And then someone says, okay, but no, we need it like that, and it's completely different or a little bit different
than what you were thinking about the day before when you were thinking about your scene.
Right. Or you're showing up, I'm ready to do it.
Right.
And this is when you're on set and you're like, wow, you've got to be able to adjust and do that. If you are so stuck in what you had, then you're not going to work a lot. Because that guy's going to go, okay, I'm going to shuffle through or struggle through this day, and that guy's never working for me again because that was a pain in the ass. You can be I don't think you should ever be a pain in the ass, no matter who you are or what status you get to, but there are some of those, I guess, that are there. I don't know why. It's an individual problem internally with them. But, there's because then you have different schools of thought on the acting thing, whether you're method or Meisner or, all this stuff. Or you just show up.
You should never be a pain in the ass.
No, that's a given. You should never be a pain in the ass. But, then there's method and not method people. And
well, regardless of what you're doing, like if you're method or you're not, like just always realize that there are other people working with you and you're all making the same thing. This is not an office job where someone is telling you like what to do and pointing at your face.
You gotta put a
like,
TP
this
cover
is
sheet
something,
on your TPS report.
Right. This is a job where you are also involved, even if, to tell you the truth, I always think that the actor is the lowest person on the totem pole, even if they're getting paid the most.
I almost think people like David Mamet would agree with you.
Yes. And
according to him, your job is to show up when you're told to. You're supposed to stand where some guy tells you to stand, say the lines that someone else written in the manner that the director tells you to say them in, and then go home. That's your only job.
I kind of agree with him.
I
honestly really agree with him.
It's not your fucking project.
I kind of agree with him.
If you want to have a say overall, then you need
to
produce it and direct it.
And you know what?
Write it, produce it, and direct it, then you can tell everybody what the fuck to do. Otherwise, you just show up and be like,
I would honestly be fine with that as an actor.
As an actor?
Because I can also...
No problem. What do you want?
I don't actually have to do it. Because I can also say, hey, you can go fuck yourself, man it. And leave. But I love that.
I'd like to see
that actually makes me really happy because it still makes me feel like it's a collaborative process.
You're a part of a larger thing. You are. You may have an important part. Or
I mean, if you're a PA on a job, your life is bullshit. It sucks.
One of the tougher jobs on it, but you're an important part of the production.
Exactly, and I love that.
The problem with that is a lot of even producers and production don't appreciate. Like, you have to appreciate
my best
everybody
friend,
on set because they're making you go, especially as a producer or director.
I used to be on a television show when I was a kid called Kids Incorporated, and my favorite person on that set was one of the PAs, and he was like the coolest guy. And like, hey, when I was done, he was like, "Hey, want me to get a salad?" I'm like, I would love that, but can you get you one too? And then we'll sit in my dressing room and like run lines and like eat the salad.
Right.
And, like, that was my best friend, not the director,
right?
Not the producer, not the other people in the show. It was the lonely guy.
Right.
That was and I have also been the PA on sets.
As have I.
Because later on, like, I was working shitty jobs, so like I'd also be the PA on the set, and I was appreciative of the people that treated me that way. So like, it's all a collaborative process. Like, can we just all get on board with this? Can Tom Cruise also be on the same level as the man that's gaffing?
You would think it in some
or
respect,
does he want him to
be
in the Scientology tent?
Well, you might have picked the wrong guy there for the example. But going on with or going into, you shouldn't just be a pain in the ass. There's
you just said it. Don't
be a pain in the ass. Now, this leads into also something that we'll talk about in another podcast, Squadcast rather.
How far are we in?
You never know. We're at 42.
Oh my God! We got an interview coming up with someone who will be named futuristically. Andre and I are going to Chicago, and we're going to be at Wizard World Comic-Con. We'll be signing autographs at a table, and we'll be doing photo ops, and we're also going to present Fred Decker, the director of Monster Squad, with an award at the Bruce Campbell Film Festival, which we're very excited about. We love Bruce Campbell. He's one of our friends, and our agent is on Ash vs. Evil Dead with him. And
so basically, it's just a cool weekend, is what you're saying.
So what we're saying is that we're going to try to get some celebrity guests on our podcast. This is our first one, so we're really excited, and we're very kind of humbled about being talking into a microphone to you guys. So maybe we will talk to some people at Comic-Con in Chicago. If you happen to be there, we'll be at a booth, and we would love to see you. Come see us, and we will sign whatever you have. We will sign our own stuff that we have.
And we've got some cool stuff that we've never had at a table, too, that's coming up.
Oh, my God. You won't even believe the T-shirts. We've made some T-shirts that we have not had yet at any of these Comic-Cons or any of these conventions. One of them I drew myself. One of them Andre designed himself. And we'll have some Stephen King Rules T-shirts.
And the piece de resistance is the first time you will be able...
I don't know if you can say that.
You want to say it?
Do you want to say it? Say it. Do it.
I don't know. Maybe we'll just leave it as a...
No, say it.
We are going to have actual vampire-killing wooden stakes with a Monster Squad stamp on them, numbered in a limited run, that Ryan and I will sign. So hopefully some cool Squad fans would kind of dig something that they'd never been able to get before. And there's some great people going to this event as well, which is kind of cool because they're all great names, and that might... Let's wrap up that last thing we were just saying about these cool people, of never being a pain in the ass, because there's always... the PA today is the producer of tomorrow.
Agreed.
And there's so many stories
I like that.
The assistant casting director today is the casting director tomorrow. So there's just no ever reason to be a pain in the ass or an asshole to somebody.
If you're ever planning on moving to Hollywood and being a part of this world, which is the most insane world ever, or you want to stay like your dentist assistant, it's fine. But there is a lot of opportunity here, and it's fun. And if you love being a part of this world, then come out and give it a try. So when we're in Chicago, we're going to be hanging out with, and I'm just going to like read off some names. We're with Michael J. Fox. We're with Carrie Fisher. We're with Norman Reedus. We're with Duchovny. We're with the cast of X-Files, basically. Like Gillian Anderson. You know, Christopher Lloyd is going to be there. I think those guys are going to be taking pictures with, like, the DeLorean. And, you know, you can stand with Fox and Lloyd and Leah Thompson. And you could take a picture of those guys with the DeLorean. Deborah Ann Woll is going to be there from... she's on Daredevil now, but she was the hot-ass fucking redhead on True Blood. I was in love with her. I hope I get to see her. Rosario Dawson is going to be there. Yummy. And our buddy Bruce Campbell will be there. He is doing the second season of Army of Darkness. And he has a film festival.
Army of Darkness or Ash vs. Evil Dead?
Well, of course, yeah. Maybe I'm a little drunk now. Oh, by the way, I drink a lot. We there? Oh, I'm close.
Oh, I'm behind then.
Oh no, we're gonna go a little longer, but I just want you to know that I drink whiskey. So Bruce Campbell will be with us, and he has a film festival during Wizard World, and he's gonna play Monster Squad. Is he gonna do Night of the Creeps too?
I think there's Creeps. I think there is Creeps. There's Monster Squad, and there's some really good programming in the rest of the film festival as well.
So Andre and I are going to give Fred Decker, the director of Monster Squad and Night of the Creeps, an award.
It's the first annual Groovy Award.
Thank you.
So it's really cool, right? Yeah.
Very cool. And we'll say hi to Bruce for you guys. And there's a bunch of other stuff going on there. Rose McElver is going to be there from Zombie, which is one of my new favorite shows. And if
they're
you guys,
excited too.
If you guys are in the Chicago area, we'd love you guys to come out and see us. We'd love to say hi to you. And what else do we want to talk about? Anything else?
You mentioned something I thought was interesting.
This is our first
Yeah, but I think
podcast,
you touched on a good thing that might have been written down in my mind, is because you mentioned LA, coming out to LA/Hollywood in this business, and you said it was insane. Is it insane, or does Hollywood in this entertainment industry just operate on a different paradigm of physics than normal shit? I think it operates on a different type of physics, and that's what bugs people out, because they get here and they're equating normal functional physics to it, Newtonian physics, and they get here and it's all kind of...
You're talking about like people coming here from other realms.
Other places, right? From other
and
places
like,
to
I
want to
be an
industry.
actress,
or a writer, or a director,
or whatever,
or a creature maker, or a makeup effects.
I almost think it's better, like, if you are not an actor. If you're an actor, come to LA. If you're an actor, go to New York. If you're an actor, go to New York to be in theater. If you're an actor, come to LA to be in film and television, commercials, whatever the fuck. If you're a writer, director, just fucking stay where you are. And do it from there. I'm telling you, if you are in Iowa, just make your film in Iowa.
I agree. I think it's a totally different world now. That you can actually get it done. That's the thing. You can actually get it done now.
And it doesn't have to be a big deal. Like, just make movies. Like, if it's not about money for you, then just make a film. Then just, if you're good, even if you're not good, like,
no, just make the film.
There are people that, like, if you know Trauma, or if you know, like, all those guys that make, like, these B films, like, you know, if you're Roger Corman-esque, like, just point and shoot and make your fun, and that's all you need to do. Like, that's how you make movies. And
then you can come here and make it. You know, if you get some splash, you can if you want to.
If you get the opportunity,
just make your movie, make your short. Doesn't matter. Just make it and get it in something. Because, look, I'm telling you know, and this speaks from experience. If you have a concept and you write it and you do it in Iowa and you finish it and it's done and you get it in something, you are so far ahead of 80% of the people that come to LA because they never get anything done because they're either not the ones that are going to ever able to get something done. They don't have that little spark of luck, which is a lot of it. It's a lot of timing. It's a lot of luck, and it's a lot of who you know. You're way ahead. You're 10 steps ahead of somebody if you finish something and got it done. Because everybody hears, I'm working on something. I'm working on this project. And look, I've done that too. And, you know, we were talking about this earlier a little bit, is all these people that come to LA. Because I have a rule. You can't come to LA. You have to be here 5.5 years before you can say, you have to, in my mind, the rule is 5.5 years, and then you can say, I'm from LA now. If you've come from Portland or Tallahassee or Richmond, and you come to LA and you've been here 8 months, you can't say, hey, where are you from? Oh, I'm from here. No, you're not, number one. It's 5.5 years because Ryan and I agreed. We're both LA natives, so we get to make that rule. We've also lived elsewhere for a long period of time and come back to LA, and for interesting, different, and similar reasons. And then when you're here, let me ask you this, Ron. Where do you think? I think you have to give it at least 2 to 2.5 years before you can say I'm leaving and going, no matter what you're trying to do, whether it's a makeup artist or a writer or an actor. Because the first 16, 18 months is just getting your feet wet and finding out which way, where Sunset Boulevard meets La Cienega. You know, and you have to spend that time creating relationships and meeting people and
this
getting your feet
wet. This can't be like the 80s, like film version of like, get off the bus, become a porn star, and then you're a movie star. Like, you can't. That's
well, I don't know. Maybe today you can.
No, that doesn't happen anymore.
You got to post something bad, and then you're a celebrity. That's a whole other conversation.
If you want to like be serious about what you're doing, do you want to be an actress? Do you want to be an actor? Like, I mean, you know, check it out, find it out, try, and don't necessarily come here right away. I don't know what advice I'm giving people right now, but like I'm saying, it's changed a lot since the maybe late 80s. It's not worth it to just sort of get off the bus and
well, I think the difference between the late 80s and now is you don't have to come here to get it done, like we were saying before.
Send a
There's
video.
so many things you can make, and you can make them better on your own, I think.
Or don't come here at all. Like, leave it up to the professionals. The other thing is, like, I mean, if we're gonna get real right now, let's talk about these guys, gals that come here to be on The Bachelor or Bachelorette. It's like, that's not acting. It's like, that's fame. So, it kind of fucks up the dynamic of people that are actually trying to come here to be actors. Real actors. Like, I'm an actor. Like, I Not going to deny that. You're
So
an actor.
you're not on the next Bachelorette, is what you're saying.
Oh, no, I am on the next
okay,
actor.
I would vote for you.
Sorry. I didn't know that. I didn't know you were asking me that. No, I'm totally on the next. I'm totally on the next.
I get it. And I, think,
I will lose because she's going to say, like, you're a fat guy.
I think that's another
Why would I want to date a fat guy?
I think it's a whole other topic we can discuss. So it's good. We've been seeding the ground of things we can talk about for our fans and the people that are listening.
There are guys that come here like from Iowa and like, I'm gonna go to LA and I'm gonna be an actor. And what they mean by that is I'm going to get on a reality TV show. And when we were children, and we are still children, when we were kids, it was like we went on auditions to get parts on television shows to be actors.
Thousands.
Like there were never, like there were never older people to get on shows, to get on reality television shows. I'm not being bitter. I'm just saying it was a different time. So, what is the difference between being an actor now and being an actor then? Or a new actor or a better actor?
I think that's a great lead-in to
our next
an entire podcast.
All right. So, let's wrap this up now. So, this has been our first venture into this. We don't know what we're doing. I'm Ryan Lambert, and this is
Andre Gower.
And we're doing the Squadcast. And we're kind of loving the shit out of this. And we're going to figure this out. We're going to go to Chicago next week. And hopefully we're going to interview some other people. And we're going to get this done. And we're going to make this a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly podcast. And we love you, and we hope you all come with us on this journey. We have no idea what we're doing. And Andre, do you want to say anything else?
If you want to find out more of the stuff that we're doing and our cool projects about this podcast, the Squadcast, or other stuff, go to Squadcast with Ryan and Andre or ryanandandre.com. Sign up, hang out, and get the information. And we'll see you next time.
Can you say those two things again?
Squadcast with Ryan and Andre, or simply ryanandandre.com. Or hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Instagram, and we'll try to get back to you and point you in the right direction.
We need to find an out. Sometimes people say, find your, you know, something about a burrito. I'm not sure. But we'll get it. And we love you. And good night.
Good night.